Good morning. It's me again. As you can tell, my voice is getting bad again, so I don't know how long I'm going to be out here. I have no idea what I have. I can't seem to shake it. It might be just my old age is catching up to me. Who knows? But anyhow, we all know what went on with the ceasefire last night or something like that anyhow, and everybody's wondering if it's going to work. And I think the biggest problem you have over there is not studying history. Iran and Iraq, if we had left them alone, probably would have destroyed each other by now, and we wouldn't have had nuclear threats or anything else. It would be all over. But we had to interfere, basically because of 9/11. Bush had to do something about 9/11. And he wasn't about to go after the place where the pilots came from, which happened to be Saudi Arabia. So he went after the next best thing, found somebody we could hate. He was a bad guy, don't get me wrong. Iraq's leader was a bad guy. But he was a bad guy that served a purpose at the time. Now, we might have had to go blow that country off the face of the earth at another time, but at that particular time it wasn't necessary. There were no mass weapons of destruction. That was proven. It's a weird thing. I don't are there mass weapons of destruction over in that part of the world? Yes. Saudi Arabia has it. I guarantee you Saudi Arabia has nuclear capability. Israel has nuclear capability. Okay? They stole that. They didn't get it voluntarily. They stole that information from the United States to build their bombs, but that's another story altogether. They spy on us all the time. Listen, I have a lot of very good Jewish friends. They're friends of mine. Religion doesn't enter into our friendship. I'm non-religious, so I don't care one way or the other what they believe or anything like that. But I'm non-religious, and it's excuse me. You're gonna have a lot of that this morning. I'm sorry, but I really don't, as much as I understand the area from history, I don't understand it. Okay? You go back to World War II, I think is a good time to start. And it was still tribal. They still were nomadic people in Iran and Iraq and whatnot. These countries have all developed out of Persia and whatnot over the years. Syria used to be the big threat over there, and then Israel went to war with them. Israel's got a better army because they're able to keep their people together to train them. The Arabs are nomadic. They've had a great deal of problems trying to keep their armies together and train them properly, get them what they need. Saudi Arabia's got at least the Air Force part of it down. Which makes them pretty superior in the area. Iran never really got their soldiers trained. Most of them surrendered after the first shots were fired. Well, first of all, they didn't like their leader. Now, if you're going to be a totalitarian leader, you've got to be good to your military. If you're not good to your military, nothing good is going to happen. You're not going to be able to accomplish anything. Your military is what supports most governments. It's not the people, it's the military. The United States is somewhat different because we have so many people and not that many soldiers. Most of our soldiers are sent overseas. You have 10,000 soldiers at Qatar. And it's like, I don't know whether the statistics are the same. Let me tell you something. During Vietnam, for every soldier that we sent, combat soldier that we sent into Vietnam, we needed approximately 6 support people. So when you say you had 500,000 troops in Vietnam, you didn't have that many combat troops in Vietnam. When you talk about these other countries like the Vietnamese, they have 100,000 troops. They have 100,000 troops, combat troops, no support. They're their own support. Logistics isn't something that they're very good at. Combat troops do their own logistics, dig their own tunnels, everything. They don't have engineer battalions. The United States is somewhat different. It's like Navy SEALs are supposedly a rescue force. There are other units, Green Berets and whatnot, that are combat specialists, but the Navy SEALs are basically rescue, hostage situation people. And then you have Delta Force. Delta Force is basically assassins. They're the ones that do all the dirty work. And they're also a very good military unit. They have performed rescue missions on SEALs. That's how good they are. So, our military doesn't make a lot of sense. There's a lot of secret stuff in the military too. Nobody knows what these units do. Delta Force is one of them. I believe there's not a lot of information about Delta Force, what they've done or if they've done, have they been deployed or haven't they been deployed. Nobody really knows a whole lot. I'm sure somebody knows, but it's not public because they don't ask about Delta Force. Because you're not going to get a straight answer, so you don't ask the questions. But you're looking at the situation over there, like getting back into this tribal thing, Now you have the Iranian people saying, the Iranian president saying he wants peace and all this, but you have other factors involved there. You have the Ayatollah, you have the religious leaders. They all have to agree before this is actually going to work. You have rebels that don't give a shit about anything. They don't like Jews, and they're going to kill as many Jews as they possibly can. Those two countries, Iraq, Iran, Syria, Lebanon, those countries are not getting along with Israel, right? And I started to say at the beginning of this thing that, I have a great many Jewish friends, and I'm not a friend of the country. Their leadership right now, their political leadership. They go around and they're basically doing what they had done to them during the Holocaust. They're doing genocide, especially in Gaza. That's genocide. They've got the worst of the worst, the military there, and they shoot people just because they can. No reason. They're rioting for food. They're starving. What do you expect them to do? Sit on their hands and say, "Pity, please"? No, they're going to get pissed and they're going to go after where the food is. And if you're a soldier carrying food, they're going to kill you. Down here in Colombia, we had something going on which I don't understand. The FARC is on an uprising again. They're back in a lot of parts of the country. They're in control of the country. The political parties aren't, and that's Petro's problem. They need to get rid of him and get somebody in there that can direct the army or ask for help from outside. But he doesn't like, Petro criticized Trump, and that's not going to help him at all. But you can't criticize Trump. Trump doesn't take criticism very well. If you watch anything, that's true. But they took 57 soldiers, civilians took 57 soldiers prisoner in an area that's controlled by the FARC. That just makes no sense to me. How do civilians who are basically, I'm assuming when they say the word civilian, they're saying they're unarmed. The soldiers just gave up. Those soldiers don't deserve to be soldiers anymore. But I don't understand the whole situation. It's not being explained properly. It's sort of a controlled release of information, which is, what you get in a lot of countries. You're starting to get that in America, too. But governments aren't actually serving the people, and that's when you have problems. Now, Israel has a lot of people that don't want what's going on over there, you know, because they know there's no end in sight. With Netanyahu, or whatever his name, how you pronounce his name, is in power or leading the charge, they're going to go up against everybody that's an Arab, right? They don't like Arabs. Well, the Arabs were there before the Jews were, or they were there at the same time, you know. Some countries just sit in a corner and don't bother anybody anymore because Egypt's got a very good army, and if they actually decided to use it, again, I think Israel will have some serious problems. That whole area will have some serious problems. Right now, what Egypt and Saudi Arabia and Qatar and a lot of the other countries like to do is just pay people to do their dirty work for them, you know. Not necessarily mercenaries, but terrorists, you know. They pay people, they give them guns, they give them the guns to do whatever they want to do, but, you know, they themselves aren't going to do anything. Saudi Arabia has been, involved in attacks in the United States since before 9/11. So what's going on there is something we have to try to figure out. They're a banker. That's what they are. They don't do anything. They don't do anything physically. They're a banker. But they'd like to see a weak U.S. in that area because then they could become a stronger nation because of finances. You know, they finance everything. That's how they keep themselves from being attacked. That's how their oil fields haven't been blown up, because they're paying money to everybody, and they have all this oil and everything. You know, I don't have the idea what's going on. I don't understand, because Venezuela has the largest supply of oil in the world, the oil field, and it's not being used properly, and nobody's doing anything to help that country. They're just letting the people starve to death or whatever's going on down there. They need better leadership than they have. They have a Colombian bus driver as a president, so I'm hoping you can hear this, because I'm having trouble hearing myself right now. My voice just keeps going and going. So I'm going to start to wrap this up, but somehow or another, the only way you're going to have peace over there is if you can shut Israel down, to stop its militaristic attitude, and start negotiating seriously with these people. And I don't know whether we have anybody capable of doing that. So, you know, who knows what's going to happen. All right, listen, I got, as you can tell, I got to go. Do me a favor, please subscribe. Help me get bigger and better. I would appreciate it. Hit the like button, comment, whatever you want to do. Depending on what's going on with my voice here, and I don't understand, because it was fine this morning when I woke up, I will try to be back tomorrow. If I'm not, I'm sick, I'm not dead, I'm still alive, so be patient, and I'll be back whenever.